I've received some criticism lately that I talk way too much about the Toronto Maple Leafs, and you know what? I'm not going to talk about them in this video. Instead, I think we should talk about the Toronto Marlies. Actually, I think that song's pretty appropriate because the Marlies are absolutely trolling the American Hockey League right now. And with the Leafs playing the way they have recently, and with the trade deadline still over a month away, we might as well talk about that. I looked at the American Hockey League standings before making this video. I'm actually looking at them right now, and I still don't believe it. I need to quadruple check it. Because the Marlies are in first place. Hey, that's pretty good. That's not the surprising part. The surprising part is they have 70 points, and the next highest team has 59. The Marlies are currently 34-8-2. They don't even have 10 regulation losses yet, and they're the only team in the AHL that can say that. In their last 10, they're 9-1-0. A league-leading 174 goals for and only 107 against for a goal differential of plus 67. Did it have to be 67? We're not talking about the Leafs. We're not talking about them. So, why are the Toronto Marlies so awesome? Looking up and down their lineup, kind of everybody, dude. William Nylander is no longer the Marlies' leading scorer. That's because he left to the World Juniors and he got injured. But before he left, he had 34 points in 27 games as a teenager, which you just don't do in the American Hockey League. Number 2 on the Marlies, and their new highest scoring forward is actually Mark Arcabello, if you can believe it. And he's been with the Leafs for a fair chunk of the season. He's only played 30 games in the minors. Well, wait a sec. If he's the second highest scoring, yes, that's right. Defender TJ Brennan is the Marlies' leading scorer with 42 points in 43 games. I call him AHL McInnes. With 17 goals and 25 assists, Brennan is having another exemplary offensive season, and he's one of 4 Toronto Marlies representatives going to the AHL All-Star Game. TJ Brennan was named, William Nylander was named, we'll see if he goes. Josh Levo was named, he's with the Leafs right now, we'll see if he goes. And new head coach Sheldon Keefe. With a team that has been winning like the Marlies, with a team that has been scoring like the Marlies, it's kind of hard to find something that's not a bright spot. And kind of unbelievably, one of the only downers on the Marlies so far this season is Connor Brown. Connor Brown burst onto the scene as an AHL rookie last year, and he led the Marlies in scoring by a wide margin. This season, he played 8 games in October, had no goals to show for it, and then he got injured. He only returned last game, in which he scored 2 of the Marlies' first 3 goals, and they beat the Utica Comets 7-1. The goaltending has been incredible too. You've all seen Garrett Sparks work in the NHL, but in the AHL, he's got a .931 save percentage, which is pretty good. One of the guys you could point at from earlier this season and go, oh boy, he needs to improve, Antoine Bibeau. Bibeau, you could argue, came into the season ahead of Garrett Sparks in the Leafs goalie rankings, and then he just didn't play that well and kind of lost his job. After a decent .913 save percentage last year, Bibeau's has dipped to .899 so far this season. But even Bibeau, since the beginning of December, has played 10 games and he's got a .924 save percentage in those games. And as long as we're talking about goaltenders, remember how Jonathan Bernier did so well in the AHL? Oh, look at his stats. That league's a joke. Here are Bernier's Marlies stats lined up right next to Rob Mador's Marlies stats. He's played most of the season in the ECHL. Depth! It's a wonderful thing. Geez, who else? Jeremy Morin has come in since the Richard Panik trade and essentially just replaced Richard Panik. Brendan Leipsic came over from Nashville in the Cody Franson trade last year. He's starting to look like a steal. Now you might be sitting there like, all right, Steve, I get it. What are you going to do? Name the entire roster? I could! You want me to talk a little bit about how much I love Stuart Percy? You want me to talk about Nikita Soshnikov, who, apart from having a very entertaining name, is also a very good player? And yes, the Marlies made it to the Calder Cup final in 2012. The difference is that team had some older guys on it. And not that this Marlies team doesn't, but it's mostly made up of young Toronto Maple Leafs prospects. 7 players have played for the Marlies that were born in 1994 or more recently. A bunch of them are 93s. I guess the point I'm trying to make is this. If you're a Leafs fan and you're tired of it all, you might want to watch the Marlies a little bit. Not to mention, once those players make the show, you can go, I saw him before, I knew he'd be a player. It's what the internet's for, right?